Welcome back to another episode of Keoni Chats, and my guest is Aaron Boje. Aaron wears a lot of hats, not just in this interview, but he is a outrigger canoer, or he's a paddle sport athlete. Let's just call it that. And he's also the general manager of two pizza chains here in the Beaverton, Oregon area, and I believe some of Hillsborough area. And he is also an avid CrossFitter. So we talked about that. We talked about having to do all those things and how he's able to still keep going and where he got that hard work mentality from. So it was a great conversation just because the times that I've spoken with Aaron, it's been very centric towards dragon boating and then a few jokes here and there. He's also a University of Oregon alum, so we talk about the Ducks and he also has a husky dog. So it's just, if for those that don't know, the Oregon Ducks and the Washington Huskies are two bitter rivals. So it was always just, that was just it was a fun way to start my interview, just talking about his dog. So it's always nice to, because when I thought back to it, it's like I've known Aaron for at least 15 years of my life. At least half my life I've known him. And it's crazy to think that, I've known him that long, and yet I've never heard about some of these stories. And when he talked about his, I actually never met his dad. And he didn't really talk to him about, he didn't really talk about him that much when I would see him in person for dragon boat races, because his mom does dragon boating with us. And so I knew more about his mom than his dad, and just learning also about that he has a sister. It's like, wait, what? You have a sister? So it was a very eye-opening, and just it was a great conversation. So thank you, Aaron, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and chat with your old paddling friend. So it's I've loved paddling, even though I'm not doing it so much. Even well before COVID, it's like I've started to realize that I can't keep up with the sport, but I love everything that the sport gave to me growing up, gave to my brother, gave to everyone that I know that has come through that sport. So just to get to hear a pioneer, or not a pioneer, but just a big landmark. Yeah, we'll call that. We'll call it a giant, a noticeable figure. There you go. A big noticeable figure in the sport was a lot of fun. So if this is your first time checking out Keoni Chats, welcome. And my guests are not the most prominent, not the highest public profiles, but I think they're telling fantastic stories that I am honestly honored to get out into the podcasting world, or just the video YouTubing world. So if this is your first time checking it out, subscribe on all podcast platforms, and also subscribe on YouTube when you search Keoni Chats, and hit the bell button. I think that's also a thing for YouTube, at least. So that is the best way to keep track of the show as I release new episodes. New episodes are still set to release every other week. It has been very beneficial to give myself a little more time when it comes to working on episodes and releasing them, and just making sure everything, all the dots or all the squares are checked off when it comes to pre-releasing my episodes. So the editing process, I should say. So to stay in the loop when it comes to episode releases, you can do that by following the show on social media. So that would be KC Media 13 on both Instagram and Twitter, and Conlu K Media on Facebook. And then throughout the interview, you'll see on your lower left hand side, I believe it'll be this right here. You will see again, if I'm wrong on that one, so be it. But you will see the little lower third for my website, keoniconlu.com, KEONICONLU.com. No one else is going to push this website than myself, so why not have it be staring at you for about a good chunk of the episode? So that was my thinking behind it. So on that website, I do have my other forms of creative outlets, meaning my blog entries, which is whether the NFL drafts or the DC Animated Universe review series blog series, or if it's some photos that I take. I do like to bring my camera out to nature, or I do like to just go for a walk, see what I could find, take some photos of something in a different angle than I've seen multiple times. That's always kind of a fun challenge for me. But for this podcast, an audio version is available on the very I think the bottom of the homepage. And then when you look at the menu section, you will see a videos tab, and you will see Keoni chats, and that's where the video versions will be found also. So on the website, that's where you go. I just can't say if this is again your first time. Welcome. Tell your friends. It's I'm the one pushing the show, and I'm always grateful for people that that I come into contact with that have listened, that have actually digested some of the things I've talked about with my guests. So if you are interested in becoming a guest, just email me. I'll give you my email at the end of the show. So however you are listening to this episode on whichever platform you prefer, or if you're watching on YouTube, I hope you enjoy my chat with Aaron Boje. Well, Mr. Boje, you were supposed to be one of my in-person interview guests, but we had to change up a little bit. So I know you gave me a reason, but
you can just pretend I'm there.
Okay, I mean, I already am pretending. Hi, Aaron. So what was the reason how you had to change up last second?
My dog just got spayed.
Yeah.
We were planning on having puppies, but in the long run, the timing didn't really work out. So she had her surgery last Friday and got to stay up all night taking care of her, listening to her cry, sleeping for like 30 minutes. It was like we had our own baby.
Yeah.
It was as if we had a baby.
Isn't that
probably
usually...
for those who do have kids, probably not quite the same, but I felt like it was on that level.
And usually, isn't that what people say? They're like, hey, if you want to challenge yourself and see if you're ready for parenthood, get a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, it's
especially when you're going into a relationship. Like if you can take care of a dog together or a cat,
yeah,
which I think are a little less high maintenance, but
oh yeah, because cats you could just you can leave them alone for like a couple days. You
yeah,
should.
they don't care.
You can, but they don't care.
Yeah.
So at the time of recording, we're about July 5th. What's your dog's name again? It's been a long time. Ukulele.
Yeah.
How did she react to the fireworks, all the loud sounds?
She was fine. She's been fine with it ever since she was born. Okay. Luckily, she's pretty mellow. Mm-hmm. I feel like she vibed off me and was like very mellow from the beginning. And I got the most mellow husky out of the pack when she was born. So I was very lucky that she wasn't running off all the walls and stuff and tearing the house apart from the get-go.
Yeah. I mean, you can have late life surgeons and just start tearing it up now.
Yeah. I mean, there's days.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so why husky?
So I took care of one of my best friend's dogs when he went to the Air Force for training, and he just needed someone to look after his dog in his apartment. So I basically moved into his apartment for 9 months and took care of his dog. And when he came back, he decided that he was going to breed his dog. And I was like, well, I want a husky for myself. And that was the very first dog I'd ever had. So taking care of his dog was the first time I had ever taken care of a dog. And then I just knew that that was the kind of dog that I wanted from that moment on.
Yeah. My mom, when my brother took in a cat, she was just like, I don't want to. It took her a while to get like warm and comfortable with the cat, because she was like, I already took out the poop for my kids. I don't want to like smell poop from the cat when it come visit. So what was some of your mom's criticisms, just like worries when it came to you owning a dog?
I think they were pretty excited because
Oh,
my parents, when growing up, we only owned cats. So my parents never really had any uh, experience with having a dog around. So they were pretty open to it.
hmm.
And so I didn't live at home at the time. So bringing my dog over for family get-togethers or holidays and stuff, they were pretty excited, especially because they didn't have to deal with it for, day to day. It
Oh
was
yeah.
only like it's like when you don't have a kid and someone brings their kid over, it's pretty fun because you only have to take care of it for so long and then it goes away.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because then once, like, let's say the kid starts crying, or you could, not being very cooperative, you just be like, "Here's your kid. Okay, bye."
Exactly.
Ah.
So like they were the lucky grandparents or like the lucky aunt and uncle that they're get to take care of an animal for a little bit and then get to hand it back after.
Oh. Again, that's what my mom would say. She's like, "Son, when you have kids, I'm gonna spoil them, then give them back to you." And I was like, "Mom, you do that, never again."
Yeah, they're gonna be all hyped up on Mountain Dew, and then she's gonna hand them back to you. Here you go.
You get that code red, really. Just
Yeah.
turn their mouths as all sorts of rainbowish colors.
Uh-huh. That
So
Baja Blast.
you are Oregon Duck alum. You can see, well, you from your angle, you can see. There it is. There it is. But I know this probably didn't cross your mind, but did you think of you might get any crap for owning a Husky when you're a Duck alum, knowing that the rivalry between the two schools are pretty strong?
Um, yeah, I do know some people who are Huskies, and they're always like, "Oh, well, you own a Husky." Like, it's like, well, I'm not gonna go out and buy a duck. Like,
You could.
I mean, I could, yeah. I don't really have a pond in the back of my place, so I found it really unpractical. Unpractical.
Yeah, yeah, and I know just first. I remember when I first saw a husky, I was just like, "Oh, they're so cute. Why do we hate them so much?" You know what?
I know.
I don't know.
They're so beautiful, majestic animals.
I don't know. What do you know about this rivalry of Oregon versus University of Washington?
For Washington,
Yeah.
I feel like just the Pacific Northwest, like anything that was Pac-12 related, like
Mm.
I feel like the Ducks have high pride. And so whoever it was, like even if it was a non-conference game or a non-conference team that we're playing, it just you could not be friends with them at all.
Mm.
Even if it was a good friend of yours, like you just hated them for that they had gone to that school.
Yeah.
You just felt superior, which is just a terrible thing to say.
Yeah, because like what Duck fans also have the record of I guess the reputation of being the worst fans. What
Yeah.
was some of the crappy things you saw Oregon fans do in game days?
I mean, you weren't allowed to drink in the stadium, but it didn't stop from drunk people from getting into the stadium.
True, true.
So I've definitely seen, I mean, the very worst thing I've ever seen is somebody pee on somebody else standing in front of them. That
What?
wasn't because they didn't like them for being on another team. That was just because they were too drunk. He
Oh,
probably didn't even know he was doing it in the first place.
yeah, yeah. He's probably like, "Oh, I feel much better. Oddly, I don't know why I feel much better. Oh, crap."
Yeah. Oh, who are these guys helping me out, taking me out of this place?
And I just continue to feel better and better. This is weird.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of the stadium and stuff, the camaraderie that you get with all the other people who enjoy the Ducks and Oregon and Eugene the same way that you do, I think it kind of just overpowers like any ethical or moral reasoning that you have, and it just like overrides your brain, and then you just
Yeah,
don't like the other team,
yeah, yeah. But it's like when
and
you're
then
in
it's
the.
over, and then you're friends again.
That's true. That's true. Because it's usually like when you're in the stadium, or you're in that environment, like in the parking lot of Autzen Stadium. You're like, I hate this guy. And then
Yeah,
once you take that first step off, you're like, oh, my dude, give him a little nuggie.
and I think there's a lot of money involved in Eugene and Autzen and stuff. And so that's something that's always on the other team's radar of how they're going to attack you. They're like, oh, it's only because Phil Knight. Oh, it's only because Nike. Oh,
Mm.
blah, blah, blah. And then the team just crushes them. So then it's not just the money,
Mhm.
it's also we have had a pretty stacked team in terms of football and basketball and baseball now too, softball, track and field. I mean,
Yeah.
athletes just populate that school.
Being a former wrestler, I know they had a wrestling program, but I'm pretty sure they cut that. And then Oregon State got very, very, very well known for their wrestling program. So
Yeah,
we'll give them that. We'll give them that. And they've
yeah,
also beat us at the Civil War at least what maybe the last 2 out of the last 3 years, something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little hurtful, but it's
But
okay.
out of the last like 50 years, it's like what, like two or three?
Blimp in the radar. Blimp in the radar.
Yeah.
All right, so you're a Cali kid. It is also pretty prominent for a lot of Cali kids to travel up north to Eugene for University of Oregon. What brought you from the great sunny California all the way to Oregon?
Well, from California, my parents brought me. I mean,
That's a good
I
point.
guess I
That's a
had to
good point.
go. But
I don't have an option here, buddy.
yeah. We moved when I was actually like two and a half. So I was born in California, but raised in Oregon. So I was raised as an Oregonian.
Mm,
So it's like a mixing of cultures for at least my older sister and my parents, but for me, it was just Oregon all the way. But having my entire family, other than my parents and sister, still in the Bay Area, we would always go back, visit them, and they made it seem as though like we had never left. So they're always very welcoming, and we would do anything that they would do. So we never really did touristy stuff. We were just doing local things.
mhm.
It wasn't until a couple years ago that I went with my girlfriend that I actually did tourist stuff in California, like walk on the Golden Gate Bridge and like go to certain coasts and stuff like that I would never have done as like just visiting my family.
Right? It's I've also started getting into the touristy things, and so it's you get that like idea of like, oh, I'm being touristy, I should know these things, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Oh no. And you get to see a different side of like I had been to California like hundreds of times, but like there's so many things I still haven't seen. And so it was nice to actually view it from that point of view, especially to experience it with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And um, so it was, yeah, just slightly different.
Yeah, like I think it was at least within the last month I went to the Rose Garden, and I haven't been there since like I was a kid, and I was just like, oh yeah, we have this here.
Yeah.
Son of a gun. So and then I want to see like that's been kind of like my underlining goal when it comes to being an adult that lives in Oregon that has a job that can afford me to travel. It's like I want to
Uh-huh.
see this like this falls. Yeah, sure, why not that one? And then start knocking them down and feel like I know this place now.
Yeah, my
Almost.
girlfriend Emily and I, we've been visiting different falls like this past couple years and just like checking them off our boxes and stuff and go into each one. And it's been nice to see more around here that we haven't been able to go around and do.
Do you have a favorite so far of where you went?
Um, in Oregon, ooh, I forget what the name was. We just went to one in Washington, in Cougar, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
We went for her birthday. It was Lower Lewis Falls, and that was pretty epic.
Yeah.
It was like a three-story high falls, and people would kayak off it or cliff jump off of it.
I mean, you
And
got to do it,
I
man.
wasn't about to do that. No, I'm fine.
You got to do it.
Yeah, and then other people walk by and they see me on the ground with a broken
Yeah.
leg, and they're like, "Oh, what did he do? Oh, he just jumped."
Totally worth it.
Yeah,
Totally worth it.
YOLO.
Yo. Yeah, I've gone to Hood River a few times recently, and then there was a falls like a little bit past Bridal Veil.
Uh,
It's a small falls. It starts with a W. It's kind of a long name, and anytime I tried saying it, I butchered it extremely. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna not try for that one. But yeah, it's just the thing like, oh, this is like right in my backyard. I was like, why haven't I seen
yeah,
this sooner? It's taken me like almost 20 years. It's
I
like,
know. Everyone just talks about Multnomah Falls. everyone's like, "Oh, let's go to Multnomah Falls," and it's like, yeah, it's pretty epic, but there's just so many more that you can go check out.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's also a great way to get some exercise too. Get the
Yeah,
because some of those falls are like straight vert, so
yeah.
you're just like, oh god, this is such a bad idea, but also a good idea at the same time.
It's rewarding.
It really is. You do feel like you literally conquered a mountain at
Yeah,
that point. So, you also have, when I first met you, back in, I don't even know when I first met you. It's been at least 15 years,
yeah,
maybe
at least.
something like that. You were a little chunkster. You're a little bit of a bigger kid, just a wee bit, just a wee bit. Now, people that know you have seen you in person. You are a very in shape dude. So, what was that transition like from being a little bit of a chunky kid to where you are right now?
I think I peaked at like 260 or something.
Wow.
So
Didn't you also play football
yeah.
for Sunset? No, that's right.
So I played like eighth
Okay.
grade through sophomore year.
Hmm.
Um, Coaching staff was just so wonderful, so I decided to quit.
So great.
I'm sure most people had the same experiences, but
It's just too good. And, I guess I
yeah,
can't handle how great they are.
once I realized I wasn't going to go pro, then I just stopped sophomore year.
Yeah.
But as a younger kid, I mean, I was like active, but also wasn't afraid to eat something.
Mm.
And when I was going out and doing stuff, it'd just be with friends. So if like they started to go to a summer camp or something like that, then like I was just tagging along because like I was going for the friends. I wasn't really going for the fitness. And it wasn't until eighth grade that my friend's mom was like, "Oh, you're just going to sign up for football with everyone else." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And my mom was just terrified. She's like, "No, you're going to hurt yourself." It's like, "It's going to be fine."
It's
But
okay.
obviously, being a bigger person, they just stick you as a lineman.
Hmm.
And the unsung heroes of football who block everybody or tackle everyone. And that just kind of tears your body apart. Um, so I got turf toe, I think sophomore year, which is the hyperextension of one of your toes. So like one of your toes basically bends backwards and pulls all the ligaments. And so it feels like your foot is on fire the entire time.
Hmm.
And I stopped playing, and the coaches basically were like, "Oh, if you're not going to play, then you might as well quit." And I was like, "Okay, good reason to
Bye.
stop." Yeah, like if you don't care for my own well-being, if I'm just a high schooler, then I don't really need to continue doing that. Um, but around that same time, I was visiting my grandfather in the summer. My dad and I traveled down to Northern California, and I think we were moving some stuff for his brother, for my uncle. And we went to go visit my grandpa, and he just made a comment and was like, "Oh, if you keep eating like you do, you're gonna get fat." That
Hmm.
he said it a lot different than I did, probably not as nice, but
It's also
something
been
coming,
it's been a long time, so
yeah, something coming from your own family. He wasn't the nicest person, so I didn't really. I mean, I took it to heart, but I didn't really value his opinion that much at the time, just from his own relationship with my dad.
mm,
So it kind of altered the way I thought about working out, health, and stuff like that. It's like, well, I kind of value what he says, kind of don't. So I'll take it on my own and deal with it. And over the like course of a year, I lost like 20, 30 pounds. And I went and go visit him again. And just to be like, "Oh, like in your face, granddad, like I lost all this weight." And he like didn't answer the door because apparently he had fallen ill. And uh, we didn't get to see him because he was sick and didn't want to come to the door and answer the door for anybody. And we didn't find that out until a little bit later. We just figured he was at the grocery store. But then later on, uh, my dad got a phone call, and then my grandpa was in the hospital, and so my dad went down to go see him again, and unfortunately, he passed a little bit after that. So he told me I was overweight. Then I was going to prove him wrong, and unfortunately, I didn't. But it led me on a journey to better myself. I think he was looking out. He just didn't know how to appropriately say it to his grandkid.
Yeah, because at that time, that generation, they're just like they're gonna be blunt and direct with you. They're not gonna
Yeah,
like, soften it up for you to process, even though no matter what age you are. Because I know my mom or my grandma, she would tease my brother because at one point, we all get our weights always fluctuate up and down. Like I think my brother's weight was fluctuating a little bit high at that time, and so my grandma just saying like, why are you so big, why are you so why are you so fat, so why are you so fat again, like she just doesn't know how to like,
yeah. They don't mean
say it.
it in a mean way. They're just
Yeah,
saying it out loud.
yeah, it's like, at that point they're just like they just want to say it, they just don't, I don't think they know how to, like, yeah, they don't know how to phrase it. So for you to hear that from your grandpa and to where you are now, is his voice still in the back of your head at all when you're lifting or working out?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think early on it was I think it was a definitely traumatic experience, and I didn't know how to address it early on. But as I like grew older and um, learned more about myself and fitness and what my actual goals were, um, I think it aided in how I could actually benefit myself, and not so much like hold it against. I wasn't going to hold it against my granddad or anything like that, but
Yeah, not forever, but for like a little bit at least, just until you got to that point where like, okay, I feel good about myself now. Now you can
yeah,
just let it all go.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, and
And I mean, back then I just started paddling, and so I ditched football and found like a sport that I could actually do long term, which I mean, I still do it now. So something that would benefit me like emotionally, physically, mentally, way more than any other sport could. And so I think that really led me on a better fitness journey once I found an actual sport that I loved and could
mm.
do for ever.
What did you ever tell your mom about what your grandpa told you, or does she know about that whole conversation at all?
My yeah, they do.
Okay.
It was my dad's dad, and so I think he was there. I think he said it to myself and my sister, like while we were just hanging out at the house.
Randomly.
Yeah, basically.
How'd your
He
mom
was
talk
probably
to
giving
you?
us ice cream, and he's like, "Oh, if you don't quit eating like this, then you're gonna turn out fat." I'm like, "Why are you giving me this ice cream?"
Yeah, yeah, you're like, you're not helping me out here, buddy.
Yeah.
So, what, like, how did your mom console you? Like, I mean, was there any visible signs that you were like upset about what he said?
I don't think so, just because the relationship between my grandfather and my dad was so really not there.
Mhm.
We all knew that he cared for us because we're family, but like we didn't take everything he said true to heart because he just was that type of guy.
Mm,
So
okay.
like we loved him, but at the same time we knew he was a hard ass. Like he loved us in a different way, and he talked in a different way, and like you said, that different type of generation.
What characteristic from him is still with you today? Because you did mention like he was a hard ass, but are you like that also in some aspects of your life? Not all of it, obviously.
I'd say he's like he was extremely hardworking,
Okay.
and whatever he did, he completed and finished. And it's like I'd say like I took that for sure.
Hmm. I mean, if you did like just looking at my topic list with you, it's like you have at least three things that you can do at one single time. CrossFit, dragon boats, and then your work. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I don't think you know what the word relax is.
Yeah, you can tell my girlfriend that.
Hey, if you're enjoying my chat with Aaron Boje so far, check out my other show, Conlu's Con Conversations, with my brother Jack Conlu. And we talk about all sorts of topics that we're interested in. Recently, it's about the NFL, as the NFL season is approaching. So we're about 5 episodes in, and we might slow down on releases just because we want to enjoy the season. And there are a lot of things. We're gonna. I at least for myself, I like to. I want to take the show to where we talk about other things as well. So we will stay tuned to see what we talk about next episode. But if you would like to contribute to the conversation and have an idea for something for us to cover, go ahead and send either himself at JAC_BITW direct message on Instagram, or send something to myself at KCmedia13 direct message on Instagram for an idea. And then we'd love to, if you want to hear two brothers talk about it, stay tuned. So all podcast platforms, Conlu's Conversations, Tres C, and no video version. So without further ado, please enjoy the rest of my conversation with Aaron Boje. So I do want to ask about Dragon Boats, but I was just thinking, like, I don't think I've ever met your dad. Your mom does Dragon Boats with you. What is that relationship like?
My mom and I were really close. Like, I'd say growing up, I was more of a mama's boy than hanging out with my dad. But my dad did work a lot, and I think he got that from his dad. And I mean, he was just providing for our family, doing what he could. And so was my mom. She worked full time as well. But I definitely hung out with my mom on the weekends all the time. And it was like a really awesome experience to be able to paddle together. Because, I mean, not many people are going to do a sport with their parent.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be able to do that for years, I think was really cool. And so, like, the family dynamic that I had with my family, like, I would see my dad and my sister at work every single day. I'd see my mom almost every day as well, just from practicing and hanging out. So from childhood to adulthood, I was very lucky enough to be able to see my family a lot.
Yeah,
and still see them.
So when you were kind of getting in that groove with Emily, started to like get dating going. Well, because I know with my girlfriend, she's like, "Oh, you have a close relationship with your mom." That she likes that. Well, what did Emily say about your relationship with your mom?
Oh, I think she liked it a lot. Emily is very close with her family, and I think she likes it that I'm very close with mine, and we both have like high family values because of that. And so there was a large attraction between us just because we were so involved with our own families. Emily moving from Montana to Oregon, she's far away from her family, so we try and see them or talk to them whenever we can. I myself, being busy with work or paddling or something all the time, now sometimes I don't get to see my family as much as I would like to. So we always try and get that in whenever we can.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know, like, I'm getting busy too with not just work, but just trying to maintain a social life, either with a girlfriend or just going out with my brother, and then also doing the show. So I just keep forgetting. It's like, I should probably see my dad. I should probably go see my mom, probably my grandma. And then I think I keep my grandma texts, instead of texting like me, because my grandma knows how to text. She texts my mom. She's like, "What is it? How's Keoni doing?" It's like, you could talk to me. You
directly to you, yeah.
Directly to me. You don't have to go through a third person. But I think it's fine. I'm trying to make time for it, and especially with things now opening up in the world.
Exactly. I mean, this last year and a half has been wild because, like, I didn't want to. I still worked the entire time through COVID, and I would see hundreds of people every day. So, like, not only did that worry me about whatever was going on, like, because everything was in the unknown. It's like I didn't want to go see my parents and take whatever touched me, was breathed on me, whatever, over to my parents or even my sister. And so there was a while there that I'd only see them on Zoom or on the phone or something, which, I mean, they're only 15-20 minutes away.
Yeah, it was tough at first because I could. It's also like, oh, I could FaceTime with my mom, but also like I'm looking at screens for work. I'm looking at screens
Yeah,
again for the show. It's like I don't want to look at a screen for another like hour plus.
yeah.
So, well, I mean, we're making it work. I think the first time I gave my mom a hug, it lasted like I think an hour. So,
Yeah, the first time I went and saw my parents after, like during COVID, my mom was like, "Can I hug you?" Like, of course you can hug me. Like, like
uh, I know she's and plus like we're getting bigger, taller, and then I just have you noticed how your moms just start getting like smaller and
yeah,
smaller.
they would hug you here, and then they hug you here, and then they hug you here. And then,
Yeah, it's like his nose, chin, chest, and then next thing you're like, I'm burying you into my stomach.
yeah,
uh,
especially the Asian moms, they're just like they're down there.
yeah. I remember. I think my cousin's mom. I saw her again recently, and she was like to my belly button or something like that. So and I'm not that tall. I'm like 5'7". So it's like, wow, I feel like
Down
a
there.
basketball player. So I felt pretty good. So what? Yeah, again, you found dragon boats, and then this year it got cut. So how was trying? Obviously, you still have OC outrigger canoe. So how was
Mhm.
it knowing that part of paddling or water sports was taken away for you for the year?
So I think 2 years ago, I actually transitioned out of dragon boats and went straight into OC, or like directly at OC. I would just do dragon boat races on the side.
You're a
But
hustler.
like, yeah, I mean, I was a little bit of a ringer for a while. But in terms of like just like that community being shut down, I mean, everything being shut down, but like the amount of people that you get to see while you're paddling is like just amazing. The different types of people that you get to paddle with is amazing because these aren't necessarily people that you just walk around and just become a friend with or like hang out with on the normal. But once have that camaraderie and you use that teamwork that you use in like Dragon Boat or OC, like you're like essentially family after that. Um, so to not be able to see them for a year longer has been wild. And like once we started opening a little bit, or we actually did OC at the beginning of COVID, and we would wear masks or something, or only do like the same exact people every time. It wasn't until one person actually did test positive, and we're like, okay, well, we're not going to go out for a while.
Yeah, we'll put that on the back burner.
Yeah, but we tried to go out as long as we could until like people didn't feel comfortable, and then we paused, and then once people started feeling comfortable again, then we set out like clear guidelines, kind of followed whatever professional sports were doing or city or state regulations, just to comply and make sure everyone was comfortable across the board,
Hmm.
um, to be able to actually go out and continue what we like love doing and being on the water. So it took a while, but it was definitely a big adjustment.
Yeah, and because I did dragon boats in high school, and then I did do it a little bit in my adulthood, and then I've done a few not like outrigger races, but just like practices.
Yeah,
It you do. I always thought like, so my brother's partner is a former paddler too. It's like my mom asked me like, "What do you think of her?" I was like, "Oh, she's. I don't think she's gonna listen to this episode. Maybe she will. I don't know. If she is, hi, hello." I always thought like, I've gone through the crap of a dragon boat race with her. I've done practices with her. I respect her because I know she's a tough worker. So you build that kind of connection because you've
yeah.
you know, done all that shit together. You can curse on this podcast, by the way.
Oh, okay, good to know. I
Should I
mean,
put
yeah,
that?
if you go into the trenches together and like you train hard, uh what you're all going through. I mean, if you do big time races and if you've all trained together, like the accomplishment of finishing, not just like doesn't matter about winning, but just the finishing of it
Mhm.
is really amazing. Just to cross the finish line with everyone who's gone through the same crap the whole time. hours in training, either on the water or off the water. Like that's what it's all about. Like not necessarily getting a gold medal or whatever around your neck.
Mm.
It's knowing that everyone has gone through the same stuff.
Yeah, and big races is great segue into your time when you did Sun Dragons as a youngster, having to not just Sun Dragons, but just like dragon boating as a youngster, where you got to go to these different countries to dragon boat, because dragon boat's a big international sport.
Yeah.
You got to where did you go? And I know a little bit about the story, but tell me about your time as representing the USA and all these other races.
So I mean, in the very beginning, I started like 2001, 2002. One of my good friends, Aaron Lee, his dad was the coach. Vernon.
Mhm.
He was part of one of the larger clubs of Portland, which was Wasabi. Um, and I mean, in any sport that you do, if you do it for a long time, there's going to be politics in it. And once they're too big, then you're going to break off. And I think every single club of Portland has done that multiple times. And that's
Yeah.
how we have like 150 different paddling clubs now. But Vernon back in the day, he broke off from Wasabi and he had two young sons and wanted to share his love of paddling. So when his sons were high school age, like he started a dragon boat team, which I was privileged enough to be able to join. And actually, I think 2001 or 2002, I started. We used to do pool practices, go to like Tualatin Valley pools and paddle alongside. And I remember doing it 2 times, and I was like, "This is not for me. I do
Really?
not like this at all." Yeah, so I did not come back until the next year.
Huh.
And so the next year I came back, uh, tried it out again, and decided like, "Oh yeah, this is a lot of fun. All my friends are doing it. Like, why not? Like, keep trying it." And so we kept doing that, and I think the bond that we were making, just because like it was such a close knit group of friends that we were just grabbing all of our best friends, and I think also back then a lot of kids were multi-sport kids. I know a lot of kids now do multi-sports, but I think it was like that was just what you did.
Mhm.
You played football, you played baseball, you did basketball, you swam, you played tennis. Like every kid did everything. And now I think some kids really focus on like, oh, I'm just going to play basketball. I'm just going to do track and try and do the best as I can in one thing. But back then, like we did everything. And so just being multi-talented and across the board with a bunch of close-knit friends, we were able to paddle really well. And um, we had a big support group, parents, coaches. We had multiple coaches, not just Vernon. We had a team manager, um, and they really uh, set the bar high for us by signing us up for any race that we could go to, whether it was in town in Oregon, in Washington, in California, and then they wanted to find the qualifiers for nationals and world championships and lead us on the road because I think they saw high potential in our group because we were so tight knit. And so we've paddled at US Nationals in California, in Iowa. We've paddled up in Canada a bunch of times. And in 2004, my group, we paddled in Des Moines, Iowa, because there's tons of water there, I guess.
I was like, Iowa has lakes? What?
Yeah. For some
Huh?
reason, that's actually been that's one of the only locations that's had nationals twice,
Hmm.
which is odd.
I,
But they must have a really controlled area of water. I don't know.
who knows? Maybe I don't. Maybe it's man-made. Who knows?
Yeah,
Hmm.
there's a bunch of corn around. I don't know. It
Yeah,
was
it's
holding
probably
all the
natural.
water in.
Plus, also just you could probably paddle and then grab some corn, save it for later, and then you have like your
Yeah,
post race meal. There you
yeah. And so we paddled in Des Moines, Iowa in 2004 and qualified to go to Germany to represent USA because we did so well in 2005. And so it was really our support group and the tightness of our group that was really um, making it possible for us to progress that well. The years before me, they actually qualified to go to China, but SARS happened, and so that event was canceled. Um, and we tried. I know a couple years after us, they tried again and fell just short. But um, it was awesome to be able to travel with this group of friends doing the same thing that we all loved, and it wasn't like a normal sport, I should say.
go.
Like they
Yeah.
didn't have it at too many other schools.
What age were you at 2005 when you did the qualifiers?
I was a junior.
Okay, so like
2004 was
six,
qualifiers. 2005 was uh, world champs.
like 16, 17,
Yeah.
somewhere like there.
So we were traveling the world as young kids.
Yeah. Okay. First off, how did you guys not get in trouble with like doing whatever shenanigans and
Oh, we
being
got in trouble.
kids? Oh, you got trouble. Oh, okay. All right. Just gotta be sure.
It was definitely some going out at night, some drinking, and other things that were happening. There's definitely a lot of side talks with the coaches. And I believe there was one day where Vernon pulled every single paddler in to ask them the same question and see how many different answers he got. But I mean, we've traveled all that way. Like, how
How do you not have
we
fun?
knew that he couldn't punish us too much because then we've all paid all that money to like forfeit. He wasn't going to do that. So like he was definitely in a tough position himself. But I mean, if you're going to take a bunch of 16, 17, 18-year olds to Europe, I mean, some stuff's going to go down.
Anything you can say right now?
That I did.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Yeah, I definitely drank at some places.
Okay.
We went to some smoke shops and stuff. I don't think we smoked at all, but I know a couple people bought some stuff and illegally brought it back. Glassware, not
Okay.
actual
Yeah.
weed
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
Um, some people went to clubs, but I'd say the experience itself was amazing.
Mhm.
I myself got to paddle on this 50-foot boat with two people from each country. So it was in the beginning ceremony, and I was one of the chosen people to actually represent the teen part of USA and paddle on that boat in the opening ceremony. So like, if you can imagine the opening ceremony of the Olympics, like I was one of the couple people who got to go around and do that part of the opening ceremony, which was awesome.
Nice.
So from that part all the way until the end, when we had a paddler party, um, we had a paddler party that had all the USA people, and it essentially had, which is wild because I know these people now as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh yeah, I was in Berlin in 2005," and I'm like, "Oh, were you on this club?" Like, "Yeah, I was on that club." It was like, "Oh, I saw you dancing on a table and getting down." While us kids were off in the bushes sneaking bottles of alcohol and drinking and stuff. And
Again,
they're like, "Yeah, we were dancing on tables," and I was like, "Okay."
this was back in 2005. Statute of limitations. It's all good now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, like that's like you guys did some stuff, had some fun, awesome. But then in the heat of the race, I know like for me, I've gone to Canada a few times to race. I've gone just to Washington. I've never gone to California, but it's hard not to get too excited and like get caught up in the heat of the moment. The fact that like you're representing a whole country. Like what were those like lead up to the races like? Because I know everyone's so focused. What was that like for you just to get get marshaled into onto the dock and do all that beginning processes?
The races themselves were wild. I mean, like for us, we were a high school team that qualified to go and represent USA. For some of these other places, they're top paddlers from their country in the teen world representing their country. So like uh not everyone will get this reference, but like we're racing the Jesuit of other paddling places. Like they get to recruit
Yeah.
and like bring the best people that they can, and like we're paddling alongside some of the best paddlers across the countries, across the world. So like tensions were high. Like it was wild, and like we're paddling our hearts out. Like we're not going to win every race, but like we're paddling as hard as we can. We're doing well. um so the excitement was definitely there. Anxiety was definitely there. People were had high nerves, and there was tears shed, laughter and stuff. So it was definitely definitely can't be compared to any other race that I've done, because it was just on such a different level. um Paddling against all those people, and like, and then you get off the boat and you high five all these people that are from a different country, and like you can't speak to them because like they don't speak any English, but like you know exactly what you've all gone through. Like I said before, like you've all trained so hard
Yeah.
to get there.
And it's just like bringing it back to the University of Oregon, and you're at Autzen Stadium, and you're like, you're there, and then you see someone that's not wearing the opposite teams, like you don't like him, you just start building up this like negative thoughts, like I'm gonna beat these people, and then once you
Yeah,
step out of that Autzen Stadium area, you're like best friends. You're like, this has
yeah,
been great.
exactly.
But I also think the universal sign of hello, waving your hand, I think that also works for like,
Yeah,
recognition across the border.
yeah. There's tons of high fives, tons of like highs and stuff, like fist bumps like going around. I know us and like Great Britain got together pretty well, just because like we could both speak English pretty well together.
Hmm.
Um, there was like controversy with the Russian team because we were in Germany,
Oh.
and they didn't stay the entire time. They actually had to leave. I don't know the exact reasoning behind it, but they didn't get to finish the competition. Um, like we wanted to trade jerseys with Team China,
Hmm.
and China owns Team China, so you can't trade anything with them because everything is owned by the country.
Hmm.
So like we can't trade jerseys with them because it's owned by China,
Hmm.
and so they're not allowed to. So like it was just interesting to see different type of limitations. Like we were so young, but like at the same time we are seeing such like world clashing things that are still going on today.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, it is kind of nice I had this experience, and then now you can still apply it to what you're seeing in politics. Because,
Yeah.
well, I guess not recently, but more since the other guy was hitting in the front office. But uh, so you come back, and then just like you said, dragon boats is not like, it's not on the same level as like sunset football or basketball or baseball or whatnot. But you excuse me, you come back. How do you contain your excitement, or what do you do to kind of level yourself back out to realize, oh yeah, I'm a student. I'm not just someone who competed to represent the whole country.
I mean, we didn't really get a big head or anything about it, but we were like definitely in the papers and stuff, and so like most of our classmates knew what we had done
Hmm.
and where we had gone. So that was pretty cool for other people to acknowledge that, and to, I mean, they don't know what the work we had gone through to get there, but they had known like that we had represented and we'd paddled and stuff. So they were probably more so excited to hear about our experience about being in a different country, more so about the paddling part. But um, when we came back, it was definitely a little different,
Hmm.
in a good way.
Yeah, because you
It,
can't
it gave us a little more leeway to recruit more people.
you can't have that kind of trip and not be the same person.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta just grow from that. But
Yeah, and like if I were to ever run into any of those people that went with me, like we'd click right away. It's not like seeing just a regular old friend or something. Like
Mhm.
just having those experiences together, like you could just talk forever.
Yeah. So your new off-season training regimen. Okay, first off, while you're a dragon boater, what was your off-season regimen like? What'd you do when you weren't paddling?
When I wasn't paddling back then,
Yeah.
um,
Eating?
eating, I'd say Vernon had a pretty good regimen. There was definitely a lot of cardio workouts. The type of um, aerobic and anaerobic capacity that you have to paddle is pretty high. So I know like just before, even like during regular practice, we would run like a mile, and then after practice, we would run also.
Hmm.
There's definitely some strength conditioning stuff that we would do. Um, so there was definitely a higher amount of training that went into it. I know preparing to go to Iowa, it was going to be 100 degrees while we were there. So he made us practice in sweats and sweatshirts and 2 layers of shirts. So in the summer. So it was already hot in Oregon, not 115 degrees, it was definitely hot. And then we were having to train in hotter conditions just to acclimate ourselves to get ready for what we were going to go to experience. So our coaching staff definitely had a good head on their shoulders to get us ready for what we needed to do.
Yeah, and Verna was psychotic back then. From what you just said to me, it's like, whew, wow, wow. I did
Yeah,
I did not encounter that when I was his athlete. So kind of happy about that.
yeah.
So
There was different levels of what the Sun Dragons did based on where he thought they were at the time.
Mhm. Okay, and so you enter dragon boats. You going back to what you said about what your grandfather said. It's like you found a place that's makes you happy emotionally, spiritually, and all that. After this trip, how were you feeling emotionally? Do you remember? I know it was like a long time ago, but like, do you remember how you felt back then? From the progression from when you started to at that point.
From starting um back in like 2002 and stuff, like I was lucky. I was one of two people that Vernon actually took to Canada their like freshman year, which he would never do usually. And the Canada race is the largest race on the Western Hemisphere. Um, so the one that they do in Vancouver, BC is like one of the top races. Like if you're not doing a qualifier or something like that, like this is where you will see the most talent in this area. Um, so for him to take me back early on, like that was a big compliment. And so like going all the way past nationals and worlds and stuff and being able to complete that journey, like I was very humbled and appreciative of what he had done from early on for not just me, but for all the paddlers that he'd taken under his wing and included them in like his family basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so coming back after Worlds and stuff, like I wanted to show how much I and the team appreciated our coaching staff and support system. And so like we bought them gift cards and other stuff and like threw a party for them to show how much we appreciated them,
There you
just
go.
because I feel like they're like the unsung heroes of the whole thing is the coaching staff. Because like sure they get like a clap at the end of the season or like at the pizza party everyone says, oh, thank you, coach, but like they're the reason that like one of the reasons I turned into the person I am today, and like that forms that type of path basically to
Hmm.
get me on a certain way.
Yeah, and it's very because football, I learned how to be a hard worker from there, and then wrestling, I know how to what I guess the determination and drive, and then from dragon boats I learned how to be a leader. So
Yeah,
you learn so many life lessons from just, even though, like, again, my years we weren't the best, but it's like you still had to
but it's
rally
the
the troops.
experience that you get from it. Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't matter whether you're winning or not.
Keoni Chats is probably sponsored by Cove Hard Yerba Mate. Josh Mackler is a good friend and former guest of the show, and after his episode where he talked about the origins of Cove, he was kind and very generous and sent me a box of all 4 of his flavors. So what was included was a berry flavor, lemonade, mango colada, and a mojito. I loved all 4 versions, and actually I believe he added a few more which I haven't personally tried yet, but I loved all 4 of those original versions, just because it was delicious, and I drank it. I didn't feel too heavy afterwards. I did feel a little lighter as far as like the alcohol content did make me feel a little more looser. So, uh, I say that you really can't go wrong when it comes to having some of Cove's hard yerba mate. But if you would like to try some, go to hardyyerbamate.com, HARDYERBAMATE.com. Search around, create a cart, grab some of this flavor, grab some of that flavor, throw in a t-shirt. And before you check out, use the discount code Keoni Chats Cove, KEONICHATSKOVE, for 25% off your total purchase. That is humongous. Thank you so much to Josh and the folks at Cove for providing this opportunity for the fans of the Keoni Chats podcast show to try some of your stuff. And I mean, saying I can try something new for a little bit cheaper than full price, count me in. Just count it done. So, check it out. You must be 21 years and over to order any alcohol from Cove and Josh. But if you like to use a discount code for some apparel, that is perfectly fine too. And everyone, please enjoy responsibly. Yeah, as long as you're having fun and making memories, that's all
Yeah,
that really matters.
and the connections that you get with the people.
Yeah, and then so you transition. Obviously, leaving high school, you do your college, but then you also found CrossFit. I guess this was semi-recent when you found CrossFit, but how has that journey been? Because I've done CrossFit maybe once or twice, and that was
I got you to go with
tough.
me.
I got you. Yeah, I went with you. I didn't do great. I didn't do as much as I
I think we
wanted.
just lifted that day.
Yeah, I know. I was like looking forward to like a regiment, and then I was like, this would be great. But then it was just like, oh, it's a free lift. I was like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
How has this CrossFit journey changed your life to this point so far?
So my first introduction to CrossFit was actually through Dragon Boat. So one after high school, transitioned into an adult team, paddling with a bunch of people, and one of those people later on opened his own CrossFit gym and started working in more CrossFit style workouts and programming and stuff into his own Dragon Boat training. So he was taking the world of CrossFit and then transitioning that type of programming into Dragon Boat programming. So working out the different muscle groups and stimulus and stuff uh, in a CrossFit mindset, but putting it on the boat. So we're doing in our warm-ups like Tabatas and EMOMs, like every minute on the minute. So we're doing things. He's introducing us to CrossFit, like subliminally, like we don't know that he's doing it. And
Subliminally recruiting you. That's what that is. He's recruiting
yeah,
you.
essentially. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you guys can come to my gym too. We do this at my gym." And a
uh,
lot of our
oh,
members did
oh,
actually
oh,
join his
you.
gym for a
Oh,
bit.
you.
Yeah. And so later after college stuff on this adult team, his goal was to go back to world qualifiers. So we'd have to go through the club crew world championships qualifiers, and so that was his goal. So he's setting up this programming regimen to get that goal.
Mhm.
So he created all these workouts and programs for us to reach this goal again. So I was definitely on board. It's like I've already been there. Like I would definitely love to go back.
Yeah.
And he took me under his wing in terms of assistant coaching and stuff, which I had already done. Also after college, I had done some assistant coaching with the Sun Dragons with the junior group. So I was already well in that mix. So transition into CrossFit itself was really easy because my coach at the time was basically giving me CrossFit on the boat.
Mm.
And so once he added a off boat strength programming, that's where the gym came in, and I could really work on all these gym movements in a more structural way other than just going to 24-hour and piping my pythons and stuff and doing, yeah, exactly.
20-inch 20-inch pythons, brother.
Yeah. Like I wasn't going to go to Planet Fitness and do something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, I really wanted to have a set program that had goals ahead of them. And my coach at the time was doing exactly that. And so it was a great transition. And um, after I had a good base of weightlifting and stuff, then I seeked out an actual CrossFit gym to do CrossFit workouts.
Mm.
He was actually programming for me. Um, but all that programming was actually supposed to transition just into paddling,
Mm.
which is a great cross training mechanism. What he was doing, um, but once I finally got into a gym, I realized this engine that I'd been building for years on the boat actually transitioned really well and worked very well in a CrossFit style workout too. And so it was just learning all the technique and stuff that he had taught that once I actually transitioned into a gym, I could use it.
Yeah. And so when did you how did you feel when you first started seeing results started popping in? Like when you first started to see like, oh, I'm starting to get some biceps. Oh, look at that. I got like a nice looking chest going on. Like cuz I remember when I was training for wrestling and then I'd have to do all this crazy extensive dieting or just crazy extensive
Uh-huh.
workouts and then next thing you know I'm like, I have a 4 pack. Holy
Yeah.
god. It is a great booster because I think you and I kind of had that mindset of like a little bit of body dysmorphia where we're like thinking I could be bigger here, I could be a
Yeah.
little stronger there. How'd you feel when because the body you have now it's just like to see the results from like when you were younger to like where you are now it's like dude I remember when I first saw it I was like that's not Boje.
Yeah. Looking at pictures from me before, it's like, I usually just show those to people. I'm like, hey, look who this is. And like, who is that? I'm like, that's me. Like, no, that's not you. I'm like, yeah,
Come on.
that's what I used to look like. But
Yeah.
I mean, guys can have body image issues too. And so like at an early age, like if your grandpa tells you you're fat, then you might have some body image issues. I definitely worked past those and got on a definitely a healthier lifestyle and found good community groups to be in, whether it was paddling or CrossFit or whatever, which helped with that. But like then when you actually see results from the goals that you're making, yeah, it's definitely very pleasing. And and performance wise, when you can perform better because of the work that you're putting in, it's like there's how you look and then there's how you perform,
Hmm.
and if they're both like excelling and doing better, then like that's definitely some good endorphins going into your brain.
Yeah, because those dudes that can are like maybe Dwayne Johnson level, but if they can't do the simple flexibility things and they're just all stiff all the time, it's
Yeah.
like what's the point of it?
Yeah, I mean, I might see someone like that. I'm like, oh man, he has 12 abs, but like, and his arms are super big, but can he touch his toes? Like,
There you go. To quote, Tom Brady and his workout regimen, pliability, flexibility. That's how we get by in life.
yeah,
that
exactly.
that other parts I might have just made up, but it is what it is.
If you
So
can't move well, it doesn't matter what you have on your body.
yeah, exactly. So and I have thought about like trying to find new ways to get a workout in or try to like get back into better shape because I love going to the gym because it does make me think of my football days, but it's also like my one of my partners on my company, he does CrossFit avidly, so it's like
Hmm.
I see like him looking fantastic, and it's like, should I do this? I do have bad back, a little bit of sore elbow. Should I do this? So it's kind of a lot of like
I mean,
ifs.
CrossFit is so multifaceted because like you can do it at any, well, not any age. Like obviously babies aren't doing CrossFit. I don't know, maybe
Yet.
yet. I have seen some videos, but I mean, all ages, all sizes. Like you can take the same workout and the same movements that are activating certain stimulus in your body, and you can scale them in so many different ways that are beneficial towards the individual athlete, so that they're not hurting themselves, so they're not
Mhm.
overworking themselves, so they're working to their own ability. Like, so I try and get friends to come with me just so they can experience it. I mean, it's a very intimidating atmosphere because you might see someone who's been doing it for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, and yeah, they're going to be really good. So you're like, holy crap, like I can't do what they're doing. It's like you're not supposed to be able to do what they're doing at this time. You're supposed to work on your own progressional level and uh, your own skill level. And so like for you, like if you were able to try it out, like you're not going to be on your buddy's level, and which is totally fine, but like you're working the same stimulus, you're working the same muscles and the same mobility, and so you're working out your own body to its own capacity, and which will give you your own results in a very positive way, and could help your back and could help your knees or whatever's aching, as long as you're doing it in the right way.
So for you, or maybe when you're coaching or helping out someone else, how much are you preaching like the competitor in you needs to take a back seat? You need to like focus on what's a good weight for you. Because I, thinking about myself, it's like when I did that workout with you, I was just like, oh, I see this guy doing this. We're about the same like height, maybe a little bit broader build. I could do this too,
Yeah, you're like, oh, I need to put a couple more plates on.
right? Next thing you know, and I'm done.
Yeah. Um, I mean, just today we were doing cleans, and I started off light and started progressing up with what I know my own body ability can do. And this guy who's newer, who's next to me, he's stacking on more and more weight, but he's not able to progress through the workout efficiently. And he gets at a certain weight and he stopped there. And at the end of the workout, then I get above him because I progressed through it correctly. And
Mhm.
so when I'm coaching, I'm trying to get people to know their own levels of strength and weaknesses, so that they can get through it efficiently, but also like get the workout. Like you, I don't want them to only lift 5 pounds the entire time and be like, oh, like that wasn't anything. I didn't even sweat. But I mean, if they can lift 15, get a good sweat and feel a little bit sore, then I know that they were working through it. Also working on the the movement correctly versus just like throwing something up as many times as they can. That's also huge. It's like if we're paddling, I don't want someone to just continue paddling super crappy. I'm going to stop them 100 times and give them not over cue them, but give them enough information, um, that they can try and apply it at the time, and then keep working at it the next time and the next time. Because paddling takes a long time to perfect as well.
Yep.
And making sure they have fun, that's when they come back.
Mhm.
Uh, for the most part, some people are super competitive, and if they like it, then they'll come back. But other people, if they think they're really bad at paddling or lifting or whatever, they might not come back. So you want to make sure that they have fun at the same time.
Yeah. And what's nice is, thinking going back to how you invite your friends out, you invited my brother out to CrossFit and then you got him hooked on it for the longest time. And then I think he just got busy or just wasn't able to
Yeah.
continue with it. But, he got in great shape. And, I know that also attributes to his, just kind of mental stability. It's just like, okay, I feel good because he's always doing these crazy, crazy ass diets. And it's like,
Yeah. He keeps himself very busy.
yeah.
So it's like depending on what your type of lifestyle is, like I want a very healthy lifestyle in terms of my mental state, my physical state, my emotional state, and CrossFit and paddling check off all those boxes. And so I want to make sure I have time for that. Um, Once you put in some things that are either work or non-work related, that can't tick off all those boxes, but you keep doing them, it takes too much time away from yourself. And so I definitely make sure I have time to either go to the gym or get on the water throughout the week because I know it's good for me. And you have to do stuff for yourself.
What are you like when you aren't able to, maybe this is an Emily question, but like what are you like when you aren't able to get in the gym because obviously because COVID shut down CrossFit for a little bit, or you couldn't get the water because the docks are shut down? How did you keep yourself from going insane when those two things you find your happy avenues from are closed off?
Definitely in the beginning when COVID happened and like things were definitely shut down, like I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? If I can't slam a barbell, like I don't know. But
This apply for me. What's going on?
yeah, um, I mean, af- for being a more fitness related person, like you're able to adapt pretty well.
Mhm.
So like I see, oh, there's a suitcase over there. Let me just put some rocks in it, and there's something I can lift, or oh, I can like do some squats on the couch. Like I was very open to making a gym out of whatever I could, or both my girlfriend and I. Um, I know in the beginning, exercise equipment just like skyrocketed in price, and so like you weren't like if you didn't own it, you were spending too much money on it after.
Yeah.
So we slowly acquired a few things from friends, and now we have like a home gym. We don't technically need to go to the gym, but gym atmosphere definitely lends a different workout area than a home does.
Mhm.
But mentally, I think I was okay. I think maybe I was okay taking a break just because I have been doing it so long um, in the beginning. But then as time went on, and you're like, oh, I have no idea like how long this is going to go for, since they said, oh, things are going to shut down for 2 weeks, which turned into what 18 months or something.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
And so we were able to adapt and find different ways to get out and do stuff.
Yeah, I from just this whole conversation, I I have a hard time really seeing you like show any kind of like mental distress. Because you seem like a very cool, calm guy. Because even when like your grandfather, when he said that to you, it's like I would just be a wreck. Because I'm just like, well, I'm gonna just stop eating this, and then I get a little down on myself. So, like, how do you keep it all kind of contained, and how do you always seem to channel it to the right direction when it comes to anything that can shake you or anything that can cause you a little any distress at all?
I mean, I'm human. Like I get stressed out too.
Do you though?
I definitely think about it internally and go through probably 100 different scenarios of what might happen depending on what it is, and then um, decompress it, and then let it out. Um, which for myself has been healthy for the most part, but I know others probably couldn't handle something like that depending on whatever the stressor is. but that's been my own coping mechanism for a long time.
Hmm.
But also being able to do something that's fitness related or just being active is definitely can bring that stress down too. Um, Working from what since I was a freshman or so up until now at like a regular job, like being able to do something that's fun or fitness related or with friends has always been a de-stressor for me.
Mm.
And so luckily I've had that avenue to go out to after any type of stressful event.
Yeah. And so, what do you do for work? Because I just know. I mean, I obviously I know, but it's just like It's not what I think of you doing. You know, what do you do for work, Aaron?
I operate a pizza schmizza restaurant, so which entails anything from taking the garbage out and doing dishes all the way to paperwork, accounting, and everything. So it's across the whole board.
Yeah.
Just making sure that operations run well and that business stays afloat. And so the Peaches Schmeats has been with my family since 2001, 2002 is when we got into it. And I'll tell people, oh, my family owns a Pizza Schmitza. Like, your family owns Pizza Schmitza? I'm like, we own a Pizza Schmitza.
Easy
Like,
there. There.
yeah. Like, oh, I'm like, that's still cool. Like, don't downplay that.
Yeah, because it's like just seeing you, it's like, oh yeah, oh, like without if I didn't know that you were managing a Pizza Pizza, it's like I would think like, oh yeah, CrossFit coach, or yeah, he, does something in, because Nike is a Portland based or Beaverton based place. Like maybe he works for Nike, maybe works for Columbia or Keen or whatever it is. But it's like, oh, that's kind of left field. It's not like totally knocking me off my world, but it's like kind of a left field job
Yeah.
description for you.
So, my dad worked as a database processor back in the day, and then left that company and didn't really know what to do. And his uncle had, or my uncle and his brother had been in the food business since he was in college.
Hmm.
So a good 20 plus years. And so he's like, oh, just get in the food business. And my dad didn't know any better. So he did. And originally, we owned a few Quiznos in California. That was back before I was of legal working age. And
Shh, shh. Yeah,
so
statute of
I
limitations.
didn't work there.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he was looking for something else that was closer to home because obviously we didn't live in California at the time. So it was just it was my uncle that was running those businesses. And he originally wanted to buy a Cold Stone ice creamery.
Hmm,
And so we almost got into ice cream.
hmm.
So maybe my fitness journey would have gone downhill very fast. I don't know.
Oh, so fast, so fast.
But I mean, pizza's like along the same realm.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but then there was a Peaches Pizza restaurant directly next door to a Cold Stone ice creamery that he was looking at. And so he saw that and he's like, oh, I'm going to do that instead.
Hmm.
So the rest was history.
And so, how often are your worlds kind of colliding? Pizza Smita, CrossFit, Dragon Boats. I know, like Dragon Boats, you do a little bit colliding here or there, but how do you feel when that does happen?
In terms of me not being able to paddle or go to the gym or something, or
Or because I don't think Pizza Smita could sponsor a CrossFit event.
I have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How
CrossFitters need to eat too.
how does it feel when that world can help the other world, or they do or like crossover, I guess is the better word to put it. Because I know, like, when two of my guests like meet up, like one's a photographer, one's a actor up and coming, they have like a photo shoot, and it's like, oh, actually, yeah, he came to me because he heard about me through your show. I'm just like, oh my god, give me 1% of whatever you make, and that's all I ask.
So, I mean, I'm pretty good friends with the owner and coach of our gym, and so we try and help each other out because we're both small business owners in the same city. So, if there's anything I can do, I'm always promoting his work from my platforms, or he'll bring people over for pizza dinners uh, through his platforms and stuff. And every third Friday, members from our gym come over to our restaurant. They eat and hang out, just so like we can do something out of the gym too. Just pretend like we're normal people sometimes.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we if there's ever like an event or a competition or something, like I'm always like bringing pizza pies, so like, or handing out gift cards and raffle tickets and stuff, just so I spread my business at the same time that he's spreading his, and vice versa. I
And,
actually have a to-go cocktail at my restaurant that's named after his gym.
huh. What's the cocktail name?
Code Red.
See, there's
Yeah.
the plug-in I was trying to lead you into.
Yeah. So the Code Red cocktail, I actually went to, my girlfriend and I went to dinner over at the owner's place, and he made this spicy, uh, like vodka limeade cocktail. And I was like, this is delicious. I'm gonna make this at my restaurant one day, and I'm gonna name it after your gym. And he never thought I would, but I did.
Joke's on you.
Yeah.
Taking the name too. Not gonna
Yeah.
pay for that one.
Nope.
All right, Aaron. So I've known you for a very long time. I could talk to you forever, but I like to wrap up my interviews by asking a couple hypothetical questions from this packet of 170.
Oof.
So you're only getting two, but if you want the full gambit, we can definitely make that happen. So with first question I want to ask you, I kind of thought about. So you have different, you can call them, you call them communities, you can call them societies. You have the Pizza Smisa Society, you have CrossFit, and you have Dragon Boats. But if you could start a secret society, what would be its goals, and who would you include?
Secret society.
Were you
Well, the
were you like, yeah, what's the goals, and who would you want included in the society?
I mean, the goals would be like to include everyone, like the inclusivity of everyone. I mean, I don't want to kick everyone out of the borders. I mean, this ain't the Hunger Games where you have like all the nine districts or something. Uh, I mean that the power of mental health,
Mhm.
physical health, emotional health is like that would be one of the main goals, to promote that for everyone. How that would happen, I'm not very sure, but that's definitely a high priority for myself, and would be for all the people that are going to be in this society.
Yeah, yeah. And we tried. I was trying to dig it out. We did touch a lot of bases on your mental health and how you were able to make it to where you are today. So I think for you to promote that in the secret society called the Boje Bunch or something like that.
Oof,
Let's swoosh, nailed it.
Bad and Boje.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I think, yeah, mine would just, I can go a little goofy with this one. It's like, when COVID happened, it's like I like to hug people. It's like, I want to give people hugs again. So that would be my society. The goal is to, give at least one hug to all the members, and
Yeah, that physical touch, like
yeah.
that does something for the brain.
Yeah. Yeah. It does put you at ease too. Like, let's say my girlfriend's having a tough time, and just give her a hug and, rub her back. And then next thing you know, she's feeling like not like a whole lot better, but it's like a little bit better.
Yeah, it eases.
Yeah. So,
Unless they don't like physical touch, then they might be worse.
give them a stick. Just get like a stick and rub their back with a stick.
Yeah,
And be like,
there you
hey,
go.
you good? You good? Maybe poke them a little bit. She's gonna kill me when she hears this episode.
Oh, she listens to your episodes?
she her mom was watching or listening to like all my episodes, and then she only listened to like about like a handful because she's busy and whatnot, which is fine. My brother barely listens to my show, so that's okay too. um
It's because he's so
s-
busy.
so yeah,
He's gonna
Pokemon
watch
Go.
this one.
He definitely should. But he so like she said to her mom, like, Mom, I'm pretty sure you know him more than I do because I've only listened to like less than 10, and you've listened to like probably close to the whole gambit. So it's like, it's okay. I mean, I'm not doing this for viewership. I'm just doing it because like I want to tell Aaron's story. I want
Yeah.
Aaron's story to be out there for everyone. And so I'm enjoying the ride, honestly.
Heck yeah.
And so my next question for you again, because you're kind of a health freak. If you could choose what the next crazy fake health trend was, what health trend would you create?
I would cut out. Ooh.
'Cause aren't you you're gluten free too, right?
I'm gluten free, dairy free.
Yeah,
My girlfriend's sugar free, gluten free, dairy free, egg free.
just be all of it free. Just don't even
Yeah.
eat like rice crackers.
Oh, we love rice crackers. We could eat those all day. Um, ooh, that's hard. I mean, we already like limit ourselves pretty well.
Mhm.
Um, for health reasons, not because we're fucking crazy, but um, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
If we're gonna cut something out, I don't know, caffeine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's, I don't know how
Like,
people can like survive without caffeine.
I know I can't.
I try. Like I had the worst caffeine hangover today, and I'm just trying to like keep it light because like when I drink coffee during the week, I want to make sure it hits me the hardest. It's like
I need to get through this week.
I just need to get through the week, and I don't want it to be like, oh, it's my tolerance is high, so it's not like being as effective. I was like,
Yeah.
what's the point of this thing then? But yeah, so
Yeah, I used to take C4 on the daily way back, and that's just like chock full of caffeine, and I had to cut it off, and now it's just like coffee and stuff. But I don't do energy drinks or anything like that. But I'd probably still like to wean myself off of some coffee.
yeah, yeah, because like I used to be able to like have the like high energy without coffee.
Yeah,
Those were great times.
I mean back in the day we could just drink some Mountain Dew and jump off the walls, but it's not the same.
Mountain Dew Code Red. Your CrossFit gym is called Code Red. Conspiracy theory. Just saying.
Possible.
Puzzle. Puzzle.
I don't know the last. Oh, I was gonna say I don't know the last time I drank soda, but I did have it last week for the first time in I don't know how long, but
Yeah.
it wasn't
Like
Code Red.
my work, I've slowly introduced them to like, either like let's say Sprite Zero or Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi. Cause
Uh-huh.
like I was like, this actually doesn't taste too bad. And I do feel better after drinking this.
Yeah, you don't
So
feel all slugged out.
yeah, then my mom's like, oh, like the fake sugar in here, it's like worse for you. It's like, I feel better though.
Don't ruin this for me, Ma.
Mom, don't come on now. Let me have this.
Yeah.
Oh, Aaron, I think my crazy health trend would be a combination of because I've done low sugar. Like I had to do some sugar and some carbs. I can't do like
No.
none
Yeah.
of this. So I would just do some crazy combination, maybe something close to what you guys are living with. Maybe I'll just do like no carbs, no sugar, no dairy, no fun, no alcohol, no fun, and just just all of that above.
Whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats the boat.
I mean, to rephrase mine, I don't eat gluten, I drink gluten,
That
which is
counts.
beer.
That
Yeah.
counts. That counts. There you go.
Uh, It's a
So
fluid, so it goes through you faster, right?
I think so, right? That's how like people stay hydrated. They drink a lot of
Yeah.
water, have to go pee like 10 minutes later.
Yeah. It's all gone.
There you go. There you go. It's all good. All good. So Aaron, where can the people find you? Where can the people find your pizza smizza on social media?
On my social media at what is it? Hillsborough Airport Pizza Schmitza
That's a
on Instagram.
it's very
It's a little
long.
long.
It's a little
It's a little
long.
long. Yeah. Well, there was an already an existing one, so I couldn't really get rid of that. So and then on Facebook, I believe it's the same thing. Hillsborough Airport Pizza Schmitza.
Okay.
We're right next to the Hillsborough Airport, just like 2 minutes away. So
Yeah.
it's kind of our location kind of blip in there, or
Yeah.
else people drive to the wrong one, or I don't get it. they'll order food from us and then go drive to Tanasbourne or something. Like, oh, like where's my food? And it's like, well, we did say Hillsborough Airport at the beginning of the phone call. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Oh, there's not a Hillsborough Airport near Tanasbourne where there's a lot of like malls and such.
yeah,
What
no,
the hell, guys?
not so much. But yeah,
Wow.
Hillsborough Airport Pizza Schmitza,
There you go.
Facebook, Instagram, um,
The
or our
Twits.
sister store. Sister store is the Barnes and Miller Pizza Schmitza.
There you go. And then I assume you're just gonna, push those. Don't want to promote your own.
Oh, my own,
Yeah.
Aaron Boje.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure my Instagram handle is straight Aaron Boje.
yeah, because that one's pretty unique. That one's pretty
Yeah,
special.
yeah. It wasn't hard to. I don't think it gave me those 5 alternate Instagram tags that it gives other people when you can't have your own.
That's a good feeling, though. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, cool. It's all
I
me now.
tried a Boje, but there was a few of those.
That's just rude.
Yeah, I know. I
Nice.
think my half sister was one of them.
Oh, at least that one you can pinpoint. It's like, okay, you
Yeah,
were the cause of this one. Come on
yeah.
now. Sir, you officially have a podcast episode under your name. How do you
Woo.
feel?
I feel great. This is awesome.
Yeah, man, it was awesome having you on. I feel like I can dive in further on you because there were some things we didn't talk about, but you know what?
We're gonna go episode 2 sometime. It'll be in person though.
Yes, yes. I might be to that point where I can start, maybe not cycling, but just checking up. These are just checkup
Yeah,
episodes. There we
yeah.
go.
It's like a booster shot.
Yeah, yeah. Get your vaccine, folks. Get your vaccine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sticking around until the end of the episode. If you like what you heard or watch and would like more episodes from Keoni Chats, the show can be found on all podcast platforms and YouTube under Keoni Chats. If you want to keep in the loop on other creative content releases, you can follow KC Media on Instagram and Twitter under KC Media 13. And then on Facebook, it'll be under Conlu K Media. So if you'd like to be a guest, email me at kcmedia13@yahoo.com. Tell me your story. I'd love to get you on the show. So until the next episode, everyone, please take care.